Joze, it's really, really, really nice to have you here again.
Thank you.
Well, again, second time.
Yeah, it's again.
It's again. Um, well, you are the second pilot here, or the first pilot, or another pilot. Well, we have two pilots on the conference.
Yes.
One is Rob. You're another one. How long are you flying?
Oh, for 10 years now.
10 years.
Yes. This year it will be 10
You
years.
came with your plane here.
Yes. Across the Europe.
This guy came with a plane. You know, people are coming with motorcycles
And with bread.
and with yes, okay. So you're also a baker,
Yes.
and Joze brought amazing bread for yesterday's speakers dinner. This was absolutely marvelous. But the thing that we are sharing with everyone was your email to Luisa. You asked her to send you a menu
Okay.
so you could pick appropriate bread for
Yes.
many in the restaurant. And it was perfect. I can tell it was really, really good. You know, last year, what made you come here to POUG? Fresh conference, no awareness of it, small thing, and you are one of the most important speakers actually out there. So what made you come to such a small event and help to promote it? Because, well, you help a lot, and because of you, mainly because of you, we have a lot of more speakers here today and more people. So what happened? You decided, I will go to Poland?
Yes and no. No, seriously. I'm coming from a country which is a small one, so Slovenia, just 2 million people, much less than in Poland. And we are, let's say, a mature user group. So we had 20th anniversary last year. But it's always hard to start, and it was really sad to hear that there is no Oracle user group in Poland, or it's not active at least. And I never saw a call for papers for a Polish user group. And then we met, of course, personally. That was one of the triggers. The other one, which is I think would be more important, is as the Oracle ACE director, I was really evangelizing people about Oracle from a different way than the Oracle does. So Oracle sales and Oracle marketing does it in some kind of strange way, I would say, with more marketing messages. We are just supposed to talk about the truth, about the products, how good they are, or we sometimes even complain about them, of course, if they are not working as they are supposed, or they are lacking some functionality and so on. So this was the second thing. And the third thing is, because I'm coming from a small user group, and we are always struggling for good speakers and so on, so we are not one of those big ones like UKOG or German DOAG and so on. So it's important, to help people, at least at the very beginning, to get good speakers. And it was also a challenge, of course, to come to Poland again and be once in Warsaw. Actually, I was several times passing Warsaw, landing there at a small airport in the middle of the town at Babice just to refuel, eat something, and then just departed either to Finland or from Finland on the way from Finland to Slovenia. So that was another small reason. But actually, when I met you in person in Ireland, I saw that you are a great guy, and that will be a funny conference. And you told me about some kind of ideas and so on. So I said, why not? This was really great. And it was the first conference where I noticed that the beer is available all the whole conference.
Yes,
So that was a little bit unusual, I would say. So yeah, that's something what really happened. But no, I was really pleased to help you last year, to be here, to be part of the community, and that was just great. So this year, it was a simple decision to come again because you invited me, and so it was hard to say no. And I like Krakow. I have been here several times before. I hoped my wife will come with me, but unfortunately, medical issues prevented her. But yeah. That was another reason. And I like to fly for the conferences. That was a good idea. And then baking for the conference was another challenge. So I wrote today on my Facebook page that there is not a lot of people who could bake the bread, fly and deliver the bread and speak on the conference in one person. So that's not in Oracle conference. So that's not a lot of people. That's quite unique. Okay.
Fly over here, bring your own bread, and do very important topic. And you have actually the longest topic, the longest session here on the conference. Can you tell a few things?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's why it's so long. The problem is that AWR or Automatic Workload Repository reports are a bunch of numbers, so huge pile of numbers. Actually, people look at certain parts and then and usually they miss a lot of important details because they just don't look at them at all. So my presentation is, we start a little bit of theory, so some definitions, what are some top terms and so on. So that's the first part, how things are measured in our database, like the time-related events, so wait events and so on. And so I try to explain that, because sometimes you just get some numbers, you see huge wait times, but they could be quite wrong result. Actually, they could be a result of error measures. Mm-hmm. So because how the Oracle does it, Oracle is doing inside the database. So like measuring this room here we are sitting, like measuring this house, mm-hmm, where this room is, in which we are sitting now. So we are measuring this room, and then we are trying to estimate what is the size of the house, and that's wrong. So we have to step out, mm-hmm, outside of the building and say, okay, this building is so big and so big, but according to the size of this room, we cannot say what is the size, mm-hmm, of the building. So that's kind of problem. Then there is a lot of stuff which is going on in the reports, which people never really look at, and I would like to point those things, and so that's the reason why it's quite long. And of course I have a good case which I borrowed actually from one of the Oracle presentations, which was from the Real World Performance Group, which is really a nice one. I have some my own as well, but that one was really this is really good, and it's a lot of stuff which they have a problem. They are describing the problem. So connection pool management, concurrency, over processor of CPUs over subscription, and so on and so on. So a lot of stuff which you can see from the report, but people just look at the top weight, 5 weight or 10 weight events and say, oh, this is the problem. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you see a lot of weight events which are, I would say, fake. No, of course they really happened because the database was counting them and measuring them, but they were a result of something else, not the real problem. Mm-hmm. So that's the idea of whole presentation, to walk through and of course not show everything, because it's, we would have to start from A with the Oracle database and so on. But yeah, so for instance, like also do you look what are the block sizes you are using for OLTP and so on and so on. So this is things which are there, and very some about a little bit about also initORA parameters, setting the optimizer parameters and so on. So a piece of everything.
So you will be talking about AWR, but actually things you said can be used also to examine StatsPack reports. If someone has no Enterprise Edition and Diagnostic Pack,
Exactly,
believe.
exactly. Yeah, it's the same.
It
So
would be actually universal knowledge for.
yeah, it's the knowledge is the same. So just the way how it's presented, it's slightly different in AWR report or in a StatSpec, or if you just query $V views and so on, and you see, or you gather it do some snapshots by some free software, and then you analyze that later on. So it doesn't really matter. It is the way how it's done. It's nearly not important. Important for my audience today is to learn something, how you should think about what is going wrong in the database. So to find one or maybe several root causes, what is really wrong in this database, why we are suffering, maybe not enough CPU or whatever. So it's a lot of things which can be, of course, wrong. But so trying to point out that.
I'm really looking forward to your session, Joze. Um, is there anything you'd like to, any tips you have for developing the Polish user group for the future?
Oh, last year I had one. So this one. So you have both sides. That was
yes,
that was
we
that was
implemented it.
that was very good, because I really hate coming to a person and switching off, so switching around so turning around his badge and to read the name. Oh yeah, you are the guy who I'm looking for. So okay, yeah, that was. No, I think it's you got excellent speakers this year again. This means that you are becoming a very serious conference. People heard a lot, actually, not a lot, but yes, a lot of good things about your conference. So that was a very good viral spread in the community. And I would say, if you have good speakers, you will also get more audience, because people will like that. So not only the speakers who are making the conference, but also the social program, because people like to network, people like to talk, people like to joy and to whatever, so to make fun, to drink, of course, because in Poland it's quite popular, and I think it's in every country. And so if you do that in the right way, it's very good. The problem is, whatever works for one conference, it doesn't work for another conference. So every conference, every user group has to find its own way. You can look at the bright examples, and then think about how I can do that, something like that, which will work perfectly in Poland, but maybe it will not work in other countries. So that's something it's hard to implement, but this makes you very unique, and that's something what people like.
Thank you, Joze. I hope that you will be with us also next year.
Me too.
Feel invited already.
Okay, thank you very much. I will try to do my best to come, of course.
Thank you, Joze.
Okay, cheers.
Cheers.
I'm not drinking before my presentation.
Yeah, this is a man with rules. I have no rules.